Hello, my name is Jim and I'm putting forth this video in regard to one that has been submitted by a party with the username Preach Hell's Fire. His real name is Michael Seymour. The title of it is SD Seventh-day Adventist Cult Exposed. I am a Seventh-day Adventist, and I have been for the past 14.5 years, and also have been privileged for the past several weeks to have participated on the comment board on that particular video. This came to an abrupt end August 7th, 2008. Michael, or Preach, as I called him on his message board, has endured my comments and exchanges with him and his cohorts over these past weeks, and I appreciate the privilege that he has provided in allowing me to do this. And I believe we have had some very good exchanges among us all. There are 3 others in particular that I have dealt with on that board, and one of them is called Homing Pigeon 123. Another is a woman who I refer to as CMAM because her username is CMAMMLJ. And another is Crossbearer83. As I said, I appreciate the privilege of exchanging information and comments with all of these people. I believe that perhaps they may feel the same way. It doesn't matter if they don't. However, what brought about the, by the way, Homing Pigeon HP, I told you that if I ever did get on video, you would see that I have a face made for radio. Here it is. Okay? Now, as to our final, leading up to our final night, for about the past week and perhaps week and a half, maybe not even that long, we have been discussing the one thing that Michael wants to preach is that many people whom he is opposed to are presently burning in hell. As a Seventh-day Adventist, I totally disagree with that because we do not believe that anybody at this point in time is either in heaven or in hell, other than for a certain few mentioned in the Bible who have been taken up to heaven. And hell, as we believe it from the Bible to be, the lake of fire, is where the fire starts. And this won't happen until after the final judgment. So anybody who's assumed to be burning in hell now can only be doing so based on a parable, we call it. He calls it a true story because Jesus told it, and that Jesus told it, he does not lie, so obviously it's got to all be true. Have you ever noticed in that story, it's in Luke 16 verses 19 through 31. Talks about the rich man and Lazarus and how they both died and supposedly went one to hell and the other carried literally away by the angels into Abraham's bosom. Have you ever seen any righteous person of your acquaintance after maybe they have died, whether it happens the immediate instant that they die or soon after, or maybe after they have been viewed in the funeral homes, picked up by the angels, literally, because that's what the story says, and carried off to Abraham's bosom. Abraham died years and years ago, as the book of Genesis will bear out for us. And from what I gather in the Bible, was buried by his sons Ishmael and Isaac. Far as I know, he's still there in that same plot of ground where they laid him. But the story, of course, says that he has a bosom that the righteous dead people end up in. Okay. And another part of that story says that the rich man burning in hell is praying to Father Abraham that somebody bring him a drop of water on the tip of their finger to place on his tongue so that he'll cool off in this intense heat that he's in, supposedly. How can one drop of water on somebody's finger placed on somebody's tongue, especially if he's a corpse, what possible cooling effect could that have ever by the time it has reached that person's tongue, especially considering that it would evaporate before it got there, right? Another point. We have an issue about that very thing. Where are the dead after they die? What is their state? The Seventh-day Adventists teach that, like I mentioned before, they are in their graves until after Christ comes back and resurrects the righteous at one resurrection, and at the second resurrection all of the wicked will be resurrected and face their final judgment. John 5:28 and 29, I believe you will find his words to that effect, that all that are in their graves will hear his voice and arise, some to the resurrection of righteousness, and some to the and others to the resurrection of what the King James Version calls damnation. At the time of the final judgment, the wicked are thrown into the lake of fire, and according to the Bible, Malachi 4, they will eventually become ashes for the righteous to walk on. So the fire will have to burn them totally to ashes and then go out, rather than burning on and on and on and on and on for as long as anybody is in heaven for eternity. How kind and a loving God, how a kind and loving God can even think of doing something like that is beyond me, and if he is that kind of a God, I don't want to serve him. But I know for a fact, according to the Bible, that this is not so. Why, he even mentions in his talk to Lucifer, or Satan, that even he will be brought to a final end, and ashes will be his eventual destiny before the new heaven and the new earth are recreated from this one.